Hi, I'm June. I just got done videoing an in-home practice where the members of the One Swing practice at home with me and to actually learn the One Swing in depth. And then in that membership site, there's so many other videos where I'm on the golf course and I show how to play different lies, different shots and shapes and things like that. The in-home practice though is so good because it's something I do and I've always done to improve my golf game. But it's such a good way to break the swing down and to really get to know it. So it's an in-depth practice with me sort of thing. So join the One Swing if you ever feel like you've tried everything and you feel stuck, or that you want to give up the game, or you want to take your game to a whole nother level. Even if you're a scratch golfer, there's things that get fine-tuned, and so there's different levels to the One Swing. But most golfers, even if you're scratch, have to readdress the fundamentals all the time. But it's really cool because you're not just trying so many different things. It's not as confusing. Who really has the time to discern and decipher if the information is correct? And I've given tens of thousands of golf lessons for people who have talent and no talent, and it has worked for them. And it has worked for me. It has worked for so many people. So it's like, hey, it's been tested. Just do it, practice it, and then you'll see it for yourself. Ultimately, just see it for yourself. What I decided today is I want to talk about this topic that I was just going to sit and talk about, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to kind of visually show what's going on and what I encourage people to do through the One Swing and what most golfers do at the driving range or on the golf course, because I've played with so many different types of people. Characteristics, personalities, talent, no talent, and I've seen things that are so common, and I've taught so many people out of it. So I want to talk about it with you so you can visually see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take off sort of my golf instruction hat of just the fundamental things. I'm going to put my Golfiatrist hat. But on and off in this video, it may be some instruction, but some, Golfiatrist. The word Golfiatrist came up as I was teaching the game of golf because there's so much in perception, in the mindset, things like that, that can get in the way of getting the technique down. So initially I thought, oh gosh, I'm just going to teach people to swing because it's going to make them better. And realizing over time that, wow, we need to get the mind in order, our perception in order. Because if it's not clear, if you're not thinking clearly, seeing clearly, then you're not going to, one, appreciate what you're learning, or you can easily get distracted with so much bad information out there. So I want you to start recognizing what is good information and what is really taking you down a deep rabbit hole that can really get you lost and frustrated. Okay, so this is such a common thing that happens. It probably happened to every single student I've had. And luckily, most got through it, kept on because the progress was just undeniable. They kept getting distance, accuracy, scores were dropping, and they're having more fun. But it was so hard to get through so many distractions and other golfers' perceptions. So when I would teach a student, they would come to a lesson, and this is a common swing, where they would sort of look like this. Very common. So ironically, that comes from many of the things that I've addressed, like keeping the arms so tight and straight. And then what happens is it breaks down. And then keeping your head still keeps them having this kind of motion. And then keeping their eye on the ball keeps this kind of motion, and then they look up. So I'll talk about those things later, but today I want to talk about arm extension. So when you start coordinating your swing with the one swing, it's incredible how you're going to feel extension and you're going to see it in your body. So you just saw this. So with the one swing over time, with the right motion, you're going to end up like this. This is like the half swing position, and then 3/4 and full. And then through the swing as well. What often happens, this is so psychological, it's like so Golfiatrist. What would happen is first the student themselves will go, gosh, that feels so weird. You know, that feels so weird, right? Of course it would. I mean, if your arms are like this, and then you get like that's gonna feel really weird. And that's okay, like I'm like, it's gonna feel weird. But once they would hit some shots and the balls would go up in the air when they had squirrely shots or slices and stuff like that, and it's starting to straighten out, they're like, hey, okay, I can live with that. I can live with that weird. And then over time, that weird became where, oh, that feels good. This feels weird. You know, this feels weird. And that's good. Because whatever you're used to is always going to feel good and normal. So if you're taking a lesson, a lot of quick tips are like this, like somebody could go do this. Things don't change right away, first of all. And once you do it, you hit some good shots, because anything can work for a little bit. Then you go, oh, this is great. I don't have to do anything. It feels good. You know, I never wanted to change my swing. You're basically doing this, thinking you've changed. And if it feels comfortable, it feels like not much has changed, well, not much has changed. Once the student starts to get through that breakthrough of, okay, this is starting to feel good. This is like a half swing. Oh, wow, that's starting to feel good. Then what happens is it could be a family member or a playing partner, some stranger at the driving range. It could be other instructors. You would not believe this, but I'd have so many instructors like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you making the students do this? Why? That's not right. There's so many stories I could tell you, but there's so many that's fresh on my mind. I don't know which one to pick, but I'll just pick one right now. But like, for example, I had a lady where she would swing like this. And no one said anything. No one. They would just kind of give her tips here and there and swing through the ball, hit down on it. You know, it's like, why would the follow through ever matter if your backswing's like this? You know, why would you even talk about hitting down on it or hitting through the shot? Like, trust it, feel it. You know, those kind of tips. Trust it, keep your eye on the ball, let it go. It's like, what's there to trust? What's there to let go? And what happens is most golfers are used to seeing that sort of swing, so that when I get people to even get more extension, they ultimately have a panic attack. So those are the things that I talk about when I'm sitting down, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to talk about it to show you visually what happens. And so going back to the lady, which is common, so I'm not even picking on one person, but that's just one story, is she would always come to a lesson. This is what slowed her down. And at some point, she didn't want to continue. And it was so unfortunate. So no one said anything when she was swinging like this. No one. But once she started swinging like this, and I have video evidence and photos, and I've even like showed her before and after, what would happen is she'd go home and her husband's like, what are you doing? That looks really weird. I mean, why would you extend your arms like that? Like, why would you do that? And so she'd come back to the lesson and go, you know, my husband's like, he says it's weird. You know, I feel weird doing it. And I'm like, yeah, but the shot, do you see the shot? Like, you're hitting a draw. It's like a draw spin. It's a high draw. You couldn't even hit it off the ground. It'd be a big banana slice if it ever did get up in the air. But a lot of times it was low to the ground and she would chunk it or scull it. But no one would criticize her swing when she would do that. They would just say, you know, slow it down a little bit or hit down on it, you know, that sort of thing. But once she started doing this, and I would send her videos on her phone, I'd be like, okay, there's a swing right next to this, like that. And then I would have a swing that's more like this, right next to her swing so she could see, and nothing. Isn't that wild? I had to put on my Golfiatrist hat on because the perception of other people can actually prohibit you from improving. You could, forget golf for a second. What if you're improving on eating healthier or working out or another skill set, and you're really on the right path and everybody's around you are telling you you're not? So this is a big, important conversation. I have had so much proof, video, photo, and it is so bizarre. It's kind of like, wait a minute, where's the logic? Even in the video, you can see the ball go up high. And even people on the side, like it could be a father, a mother, it could be a brother or a friend or some stranger, like I said. They can come and they'll be like, what are you doing? And it's like, wait a minute, the ball is up high and it's a power fade. It's a real draw. It's a real golf shot. But why aren't people saying, what are you doing when the ball is just rolling off the ground? Isn't that wild? Another quick story is a girl, and then her dad would watch the lessons, and as she was progressing, she was starting to look like this. It was really cool. And he would go, wait a minute, what kind of extension is that? Why would you do that? I'm like, do you see her golf shots? And to me, and every pro out there would go, on the PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, any pro would go, that's beautiful. But majority of the people would go, why? Why would you do that, right? And so what I did was I would have her, I go, okay, just do your half swing. She did her half swing. Do your follow through. She did her follow through. I scrolled through my phone. I screenshot Tiger Woods' golf swing. And what I did was I'd screenshot his swing, put it right next to her swing, and I'd show it to the dad. And he goes, wow, it looks just like Tiger Woods. Never mind, walked away and sat there quietly and have never said anything bad about her extension ever again. You got to wrap your mind around it. So that's why, I don't just throw information out there, because it's going to get so confused with other swing tips and perception. So over time, when you start, learning things about what people have experienced during my lessons that I give, and also things that I've come across and had to persevere as an instructor. You would be surprised. You would think, how would anybody question somebody who's given people who can't hit it out of their shadow, and now they're crushing it. Now they're hitting real golf shots. Women are hitting it up in the air and not just squirrely on the ground. And a lot of my students are out driving a lot of other people, shooting really good scores. Luckily, most of my students kept going because the results are just so undeniable. But at the same time, I tell you what, month away or few weeks away, and the things that people tell them, they're right back to their old swing because they're being told, don't do that. Don't extend so much. Don't move off the ball so much. And so they come back, and then we have to readdress everything again. And those that finally wake up to and go, wait a minute, I'm so much better than the people that are helping me. Then they start to find that confidence within themselves. They're not trying to hurt you intentionally. I hope not. For those that start to wake up and go, wait a minute, I'm so much better than these people that are trying to help me. A lot of times what happens is over time, the game and swing gets so good that people start to leave them alone. But still, you'd be surprised. It doesn't always work like that. And it's funny how people can get derailed very quickly. But for those that keep going, go, no, this is right. I know this looks more like the pros. You know, it just looks better. And the shots are better. And they're gained so much more distance and accuracy that it's just undeniable. That's why I always say I love golf, because it's tangible. But still, like this Golfiatrist stuff, the psychiatry of people and how they perceive things was a big part, and still is a big part of giving lessons to get people to see things more clearly. So I would like to have you start to see things more clearly, because like I said, a golf pro that's on tour are so familiar to seeing extension because of their peers that if you go to a driving range at a golf tournament, they all have extension. But if you go to the local driving range, most golfers don't have extension, and they think they have their head steady and all that stuff, but they're completely reversed. So if that's what you're used to seeing, when you start seeing the right motion, you're not gonna like it. And so for that lady, unfortunately, had to give up on what she was doing because she had to get through that weird phase of how it felt. But then her husband was constantly, every time she would start to get a handle on that extension and things were starting to look so much better and her shots were so much better, her husband would go, that doesn't look right. That's not good. So for her, unfortunately, didn't continue, but a lot of the students continued because it's just the shots and the swing is just undeniable. And that's why I always had before and after videos, just to show, it's like, this is what you were before and this is what you are now, and it's undeniable. What I would encourage everyone to see is start to see things more clearly. I want to get this out there because this is a psychological thing, a perception thing that I want to start to reverse, to start seeing things more clearly in whatever you do beyond the game of golf. If you really know that you're doing the right things, you feel improvement in whatever you do, trust in your process. This is one of many things that I will be sharing with you all so that you can start to figure out what is a better path. It's just a guidance. I'm just kind of like, hey, you may not want to go down this road. You may want to go down that one. And you know, this is one of many topics that I will put on my Golfiatrist hat and reveal to you what happens when you're going on the right path. And if you're on the right path, sometimes the people around you and their analysis of your path may or may not be really accurate. If you feel it in your body and in your mind and spirit that, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm going in the right direction. I feel better. I know I look better in my swing and stuff. Keep going. Just keep doing your thing. If you keep seeing progress and elevating whatever skill set you're working on. All right, take care. Peace.